Well, thank you, Reverend Sharpton, for once again convening us. We know that Reverend Sharpton is a voice for the voiceless, a defender of the disenfranchised, and a powerful, profound, prophetic, principled preacher in the great tradition of Dr. King and Jesse Jackson. We thank you, Reverend Sharpton, for all you do for the community, for the city, and for the country. To my colleagues in government, to Mayor de Blasio, all those assembled. The scripture says that suffering may endure during the long night, but joy will come in the morning. And for a long time in the United States of America, our communities have been suffering. Systemic racism has been in the soil of America for more than 400 years. We've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. Jim Crow may be dead, he still has some nieces and nephews that are alive and well. And it manifests itself in terms of police violence, police brutality, and the police use of excessive force. Suffering for a long time. Here in the city, from Eleanor Bumpers to Anthony Baez, from Anthony Baez to Abner Louima, from Abner Louima to Amadou Diallo, from Amadou Diallo to Patrick Dorismond, from Patrick Dorismond to Sean Bell, from Sean Bell to Omar Edwards, from Omar Edwards to Eric Garner, and so many names in between. Suffering for a long time. But then a year ago today, America saw what brutality and inhumanity looks like and decided that we've had enough. So over the last year, people of every race, of every generation, of every religion, yet led by young African-American women and men and great civil rights leaders like Al Sharpton, folks from across the country showed up to demand justice for George Floyd. And we received a just verdict. Guilty, guilty, guilty. When you show up, when you speak up, when you stand up, good things happen and justice will occur. So now the struggle as I close continues, because the verdict was just the beginning in the journey for justice. We've got to continue to show up as we will in Brooklyn and in Harlem. Show up on 145th Street and show up on Fulton Street. Show up in the Bronx and show up in Queens. Show up in blue states and show up in red states. Show up in City Hall and show up in Albany. Show up in the House, show up in the Senate, show up at the Supreme Court, show up at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We're going to show up until the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act is signed into law, until we knock out systemic racism and continue America's long, necessary, and majestic march toward a more perfect union. We'll show up until it's morning time in America.
Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, Jennifer Jones Austin.